All right, so finally found some time for casting. It's been a hot minute since the last time. Obviously, Ado is out. The community has been enjoying it. Um, and yeah, without further ado, let's just see who's playing in this game. So on the left-hand side, we've got Flame, who's playing for the faction Rivendell, and is going for fast Breland encampment on one orchard, then putting down his second one. And on the right-hand side, we've got Old Nosy, who's playing for the faction Lorien. And obviously, Lorien is one of the factions that has been reworked pretty massively. There is some leftover units, so to speak, such as the archers, the pikemen. In fact, most of the units of this barracks, and but some were added, some were kind of adjusted. For example, as you can see, the pikeman cost was adjusted. So like just a lot of changes, to put it short. Um, I won't like this is since this is not like a Lothlorien like new Lothlorien introduction video. I won't concentrate too much on the new stuff. I will try to describe like if Old Nosy goes for a certain unit or hero, I will try to describe their abilities, what has changed. For example, this pikeman battalion, the cost has been reduced to by 25, I think, or no, 75. I think they used to cost 375, and now it's just 300. But anyway, so Flame is trying to creep over here, and Nosy is similarly trying to creep over here. The map is the unlamed version of Forza Horizon, which means that the river is traversable. So keep that in mind. Righty, so as you can see, the Lorien barracks is now built on the fundaments of Mallarns, so to speak. So if you build a Mallarn, you have four options of functionality to give it. You have Nifradil Bloom, which makes it a full-blown resource structure, so to speak, and also grants you command points. If you don't go for this upgrade, you don't get the command points. I think. Correct me on that if I'm wrong. You can go for barracks, stables, and also the Goldenwood Storehouse, which is obviously where you get your upgrade. So this is the highly anticipated swordsman slash axeman unit of Lorien. And yeah, they're called Awar Wythe, something like that. And yeah, so Flame is going for Bounder Harass, and a bit unlucky here for Flame. Nosy discovers one of his orchards, and I'm pretty sure he's not gonna be able to defend that. Um, does manage to take down the creep over here, also creeps over here, and yeah, so Old Nosy is sending forward a grouping of swordsmen as well as pikemen, and is trying to defend with archers from the Bounder harass over here. Um, Flame is playing this a bit, from defense, at least in the beginning of the game. Let's see what we've got in terms of command points and such. So Lorien has 500, and he's gone for Letho Ithilin, which now debuffs by 25 armor, which is quite handy. And this leads to the new tier 2 ability for Lorien, which is the Huorn summon. I'm not sure if I'm even pronouncing that correctly, but basically that's a moving tree or ent. I'm not like entirely sure what exactly it is, but it stays permanently on the map, and I think it's limited to two at all times, or actually no, I don't think there's a limit on it. We'll see it whenever Nosy picks the ability. We'll read in the description. Okay, so as you can see, Nosy he actually purchased two things on this Malor. So just to put down the Malor without any upgrade, that costs 200, right? And if you upgrade Nifradil Bloom, which makes it a full-blown resource structure, that costs an additional 150. And then you have, a bunch of upgrade options on top of it. I won't list all of them because I don't remember all of them, but one of the most common ones that people go for is the Starlit Lanterns. And what it does is it stuns the enemy, I think, for 5 seconds. And unlike the Tunnel Collapse ability that Erebor has, it does not stun your own units. So that is quite handy in defending your Malarns. Because Malarns in the beginning of the game without any upgrades are very, very squishy. Even the Malarns that have barracks or stables on top of them, so to speak, those are quite squishy too. So in order to get rid of the problem, you can either upgrade, one of the upgrade options available on the Malarn grants it some percentage of armor. I think it was 33%. And you also have the option of upgrading additional armor globally on all of your Malarns by 25%, and that's available as you can see the Starlit Lantern's effect over here, stunning the bounders. Yeah, so the global armor buff is available in the Mirror of Galadriel. Yeah, lots of action happening on the map at the moment. I think Nosy has been in the leading position in the beginning of the game, so far at least. Flame does have his forge up, so he's kind of betting that this game might go into late game stages. And he's only spamming from 2 reland encampments. He hasn't put down a Dunedain encampment just yet, and Nosy similarly is spamming from 2 barracks. He's going for Took Archers. Flame is going for Took Archers, and similarly Nosy is going for his tier 1 infantry from the barracks. And yeah, so the new builders for Lorien, Lorilinde, they sing very beautifully. Is there even such a word? Beautifully? No. They sing in a beautiful manner. Let's put it that way. Yeah, so a grouping of troops is trying to harass Nosy's base over here. A bit of miscontrol by the, bit of miscontrol by Flame on the Took Archers over here, but that's not a big deal at all. Yeah, I feel like yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to say. I feel like Flame has been lacking in cavalry so far, and as you can see, Nosy has only 1 pikeman battalion on the field and is has a free reign over the map, because obviously building pikeman units isn't super effective in terms of army composition. So if the opponent does not build cavalry, then you can kind of exploit that. But obviously, you also want to constantly scout his base and notice that he has built a resource production structure from which he can recruit cavalry and consequently add pikemen to your army. Which this grouping of troops does have pikemen, but this one doesn't yet. Let's see if it's ordering pikemen. Yes, he is from this barracks. So all right, so forget the Huron thingy. Old Nosy has decided to go down a different path, down the PowerPoint branch, and he has gone for Waters of Nimrodel, which summons a statue, and the statue has some very useful features, which is that troops near the statue, over here, Nosy is going to lose 3 battalions of troops over here. It's going to feed PowerPoint. Flame is harassing over here. We also see a grouping of troops from both players over here. Nosy is trying to harass and Flame is trying to defend. Nosy could not put up his Talon over here and also loses his Lorilinde, his builder. Yeah, so back to the statue of Nimrodel. It gives immunity to debuffs. It can repair structures. And it also buffs the Malarn production by 25%. And you can also only have 1. This is what like when I was reading about this ability, this is what surprised me about it the most. As you can see, Starlit Lanterns in action once again, stunning the cavalry over here. Although that's probably not going to be enough to save this swordsman momentum. But as I see that, Flame decides to, not go under the fortress to hunt down that battalion until the end. And Nosy has his own cavalry. So over here he's got a golden wood storehouse, and this is his stables, or rather in Lorien it's called Green Pasture, from which you can gain access to Naith na Lethril, which is like tier 1 cavalry. It obviously does not have very good stats, doesn't really have good armor, but as just, for such a price, it's more than enough. It costs pretty cheap, 450, I think. Yeah, 450. And you can also, for 100, you can upgrade bows. But keep in mind that this upgrade is permanent. So, unlike the previous patch, you cannot toggle between lance and bow. So yeah, on some of these Melorns, Old Nosy has upgraded. I think over here you can see like there are like additional kind of branches from the Melorns heading down, or like roots. Not sure what to call them. They basically that's the upgrade that gives it additional armor, but that's the upgrade on the Melorn itself, and not from the Mirror of Galadriel. Nosy does not have a Mirror of Galadriel just yet. He has gone for his first hero, that is Orofin. And Orofin is obviously a melee hero. And similarly, Flame has gone for his first hero as well, that is Gildor. Nosy grays something here, I'm not sure what. I think with Starlit Lanterns you see like an effect like this thing, right? Like literal lanterns, like it makes sense, right? So there was some other upgrade, I think. Not sure exactly what though. So Orofin goes in, but needs to be careful over here, although he does have a supporting army. Another engagement over here. Flame is trying to once again trample Nosy's infantry over here. Nosy once again. Oh, that upgrade might have just been like literally just Nifredil Bloom. Oh yeah, but over here he does have lanterns, and he can use it and proceed to hit the cav with his pikemen. So engagements all over the map. Flame is harassing over here, does use his tier 2 ability, is gonna take down the Green Pasture, and this is one of the things that the players in the community have been having like lots of troubles adjusting to, is that even the unit production structures of Lorien are quite squishy. So you definitely want to upgrade armor on them. Maybe not like literally in the beginning of the game, because like that would cost a lot of money, but as the game progresses, essentially. And Flame is gradually switching to Dunedain, who have been nerfed on the patch, as have been most other archer battalions. Now they can be crushed a lot more effectively. And their damage was nerfed as well, but not so much. I feel like that was just more like a straightening of numbers than a big nerf. Their damage used to be 68, and now it's 65. So just to recap what situation we have on the map. Like, fights are happening all over the map, which is great to see. I can't follow all of it all the time. But I'll try to at least keep it in view of the camera so that you guys can follow it. Okay, so in terms of command points, Lorien has 725 and almost 300 active army on the field. Did Nosy just destroy his statue of Nimrod and put down a new one? I'm not sure about that. Might be, or maybe Flame took it down and I didn't notice. So this is the Talan structure, which I'll talk about in a second. Okay, so 600. The Lorien economy is getting lower and lower, by the way. Flame is pressuring quite hard right now, down to 550 at this point. And so in terms of power points, tier 1 Leithoi Filin, Waters of Nimrodel, and 16 power points on top. So if he chooses to, he can go for tier 3. And on the other hand, Flame has a full eco 1000 CP. Has gone for 2 tier 1 abilities, the standard buff, heal, Remnants of the Old Kingdom, 550 damage, armor, as well as fear and terror immunity. And also the Summon of Many Meetings, which is a very underappreciated ability, especially in 1 versus 1. Unit summons can be very, very powerful and can actually be devastating, in certain situations. And so Flame has gone for Elrond's library and has already upgraded economy on it, Reverence of Yavanna, the cost of which has been increased. I believe it used to cost 1k and now it costs 1.5k, which is a fair nerf. And yeah, I think that is the only upgrade he has gone for so far. Yes. Nosy indeed goes for tier 3, and just look at this. I'm not on max graphics at the moment, so sadly you cannot see the full glory of the VFX, of this ability. But Aya Earendil, it looks so damn pretty if you're playing on higher graphics. I've just reduced graphics, to reduce lags at this point. So Flame has gone for 2 additional heroes, and those are Aragorn as well as Halbarad. And has also got a decent stack of troops here, although most of these guys are Brilland, Townsguard, and Idrial uses her Fluid Strike ability, and which deals splash damage, and they were kind of clumped at that moment, and that was a very, very effective usage of it. But Flame answers by demolishing the stack of archers that Nosy had. So yeah, I feel like this engagement started as very, very good, very efficient for Nosy, but ended up still benefiting Flame in the end, thanks to the cavalry. Nosy has rebuilt his economy somewhat. As you can see, this Melon is a lot more tanky, a lot tankier, a lot more tanky, with this, with the Roots upgrade or whatever it's called. And Nosy is slowly but surely moving towards his tier 4 ability. And on the other hand, Flame is close to his tier 3, which we have multiple choices what he can go with, and we'll see what he opts to go with. And he goes with Blessing of Ulmo. Interesting. So Blessing of Ulmo, what it does is it heals units for 30 seconds and grants your orchards 25% armor for 3 minutes. Oh, I didn't know that actually. I thought it was much shorter than that. 3 minutes is a nice buff. And what Aya Earendil does is gives 50% resistance to magic and elemental damage. Elemental damage is stuff like fire, and also it debuffs heroes by 20 speed and 15 armor for 30 seconds as well. Okay, so Idrial, over here, I think Gildor went down. I wasn't really following that well. And Halbrand might go down over here. But they're pretty quick. I don't think they will actually die here. Aragorn definitely won't die because he's a sprinter. So Flame has added the Rivendell dormitory, I think it's called. Yeah, and he's starting to spam Makari units, which obviously can be very effective against Lorien. These are elite swordsmen, which have high armor, high damage. He's got 2 battalions of them over here, accompanied by Brilland Townsguard. And he's also gone for Arwen, which is very interesting. I don't really see her that much in 1 versus 1. We can see that Nosy, as an answer to all of this, has gone for a Hidden Sanctum. He had actually built this a long time ago. I just failed to mention it so far. So okay, so lots of stuff is happening right now. So he has gone for Hidden Sanctum. From Hidden Sanctum, you can get some nice buffs. And you can build Alcarwen, Amroth Nayarfin, which is like elite cavalry, and those are these guys. But they're getting kind of clapped by the troll, sadly. You can also go with the Nandor Hir Hathol, which has been moved from the third, from level 3 barracks to level 3 Sanctum. So Nosy has upgraded tempered blades, as well as banners, and I noticed that on the Pathstalkers over here, which are already dead, I think at this point. Yeah, but Flame seems to be in a better situation. Nosy kind of sacrifices his cav over here. I mean, obviously that was miscontrol. He didn't intentionally feed the cavalry to the troll as a breakfast or anything. But yeah, definitely needs to heal these guys. And the Lorien Fortress has a healing upgrade, so he can purchase that. Although it costs quite a lot more than a forgot the name, fountain, which you can research on Malarins, any Malarin, in fact. Um, but yeah, but it's a lot more effective. The heal and respawn rate, at least seems a lot more effective, and I'm pretty sure it is a lot more effective indeed. Okay, so yeah, it's not looking good for Nosy at this point because Flame has got heavy armor on his Imladris infantry at this point, which can be very, very strong. Like these guys at this point are freaking tanks. He hasn't graded it on everyone just yet, but the pikemen here, a couple of battalions of swordsmen over here do have it, and he's pushing from 3 sides simultaneously. Um, yeah, so really nice army composition and really nice multi-pronged attack by like Flame is attacking literally from like 5, 6 sides at this point. Well, he like technically from 3 sides, but he's focusing down resource structures at 5 different resource structures at the same time. That's what I meant. So Old Nosy has access to his tier 4 ability, Mists of Lothlorien, which is like a anti army ability as opposed to anti structure, and it debuffs 25 damage, 50 speed, 20 armor, and also units take damage. And I'm pretty sure the damage is Nosy uses Aya Erendil once again. What I wanted to say is that I'm pretty sure, like not 100% sure, but pretty damn sure that the damage is percentage damage. So, units take percentage according to their take damage according to their tank units. So it can be effective on basically everyone. Yeah, so I don't really see how Nosy comes back from this. He does use his Mr. Lothlorien ability, and as you can see, even the Noldor with heavy armor die from it. And since it has a speed debuff, it's also very hard to escape it. You can't just press X and run away, although that's what you should do, but it's not easy to actually go away because you have the speed debuff. But as I said that, I don't see how, Old Nosy comes back from this situation. Tier 4 actually gives him a really, well, it gives him at least some breathing room, let's put it this way. And Flame also lost his Arwen over here, so that's a really good catch by Nosy as well. Orofin is already level 8, and Idrial is level 8 as well, and does have access to her Gift of Galadriel, which is very, very strong. Obviously any leadership nullifier ability is very strong, but this one is nullifier plus debuff, which is like damn. It's like super strong. But Idrial as well as Orofin are risking death over here because they don't have any cover, and the cavalry can kind of chase them down. Although these guys can kind of body block the enemy cavalry. Nosy is trying to at least attempt some harassment over the map. But these Dunedain combined with 2 archers are gonna take care of that, no problem at all. So despite the fact that Nosy managed to push back Flame once, I feel like we're approaching the end game here because Flame is going to have access to Blessing of Ulmo pretty darn soon, as well as his tier 4 ability in literally 1 power point. So he can go for either. He can go for God, I forgot the name of the right hand side tier 4, Wrath of Bruinen, I think, something like that. Or the Bombadil summon. So Idriel summons the Tree of Galadriel. Haldir, or no, this was the spell from Orofin, which grants units 50% armor, very powerful ability. And Flame recognizes that and chooses to disengage over here. But while he does that, he manages to harass over here and also attack over here. So that's one of the signs of a pretty good player, in that they don't use one army at one point. They harass from multiple angles and split their army. So he does go for Wrath of the Bruinen. I was almost right. So this is against structures, I think. So he can use it somewhere around here in this area, take down No-C's unit production. Or maybe he could go for like the level 3 Malorns. Lots of options with that. But yeah, it's looking dire for No-C. Even though I'm not even sure what his major mistakes were in this game. Like he does use Wrath of the Bruinen on the production. One of the barracks survives, and yeah, so this is what No-C does. He uses it makes sense, he used the rebuild, takes down the statue manually, puts down another one so that he can have the ability back up, because obviously this thing had been sitting in cooldown for quite a long time at that point. Does have a lot of money, so he can go for heroes, and that's exactly what he did. Though I'm not sure if he went for Galadriel or Celeborn, because I think both cost 3,000 right now. Galadriel used to cost 4,000 if I'm not mistaken, but her cost was reduced. So from the general changes, so the Galadrim are now available only after upgrading your barracks to level 3. No-C is trying to attack, by the way, on the top side of the map. And Flame is attacking over here. So yeah, so these guys are available at level 3, and they're actually quite tanky right now when they're switched to swords. But they're tanky, they become tanky, like they gain armor, specifically against swords as well as pike. As you can see, No-C is using them, in fact, in sword mode. They're still susceptible to cavalry. You can trample them pretty easily, even if they have, elven armor, which they do have in this case. Cavalry counters them pretty effectively, but in like other infantry, is gonna have a hard time countering them. So that's a change over there, and so he finally goes for Hjorn, and I can see now. So it's unlimited, but it does take up command points. So that's kind of the limitation. So No-C does go for Celeborn, and is managing to successfully. Excuse me. He's managing to successfully keep some of Flame's army busy back in the base. Uses 3 abilities, in fact, at the same time. Summons the Hjorn, puts down the Ring of Adamant, as well as Ayarendil. He uses the Ring of Adamant over here, and what it gives is 100% armor, fear and terror immunity, as well as heal and replenishment. So that's a really, really good tier 3. Does manage to take down the Rivendell dormitory. That is most likely going to take down the library as well. Flame doesn't really have many units to counter the Hjorn over here. Man, what an engagement over here. I'm not even sure what's happening. Lorien, Nosy does use his Leithway Feline, so part of this army is debuffed. But on the other hand, Flame is pushing over here, and once again, he does have the upgraded Noldor warriors. Is Nosy gonna go for the fortress over here? I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure Flame used his tier 3, which is the Gandalf summon, the Grey Pilgrim. So what's happening over here? So Flame is pushing, and also trying to defend his fortress. I'm not sure Nosy is going to be able to take down the forces because the Hjorn went down already, and he doesn't really have much of his army left around here. I'm not even sure he has any of the heroes left. At least I cannot see them on the minimap. Yeah, so that was quite something, I would say. Like Nosy was in a very bad situation, but he did manage to kind of yeah, so Nosy calls GG over there, but he was in a bad situation, but did manage to like separate some of his army and kind of organize an attack from the top side to keep Flame's attention back in his own base. He was very successful with it. I feel like there was like he like most likely before going for that attack, he had already decided that like this is my last attempt. Like I'm in a bad situation. I'll go for like a for that attack, hoping to maybe get the fortress or maybe get the leveled up orchards. At least that's what I think was going through his mind. But yeah, that was a really good game. I enjoyed watching it. I also enjoyed casting it. There was action all over the map. We got to know. I got to talk about some of the new Lorien features. There's a lot of them. You might know already most of them, but since those are new, people tend to forget a lot of the time. At least I do. I do forget a lot of the time. A lot of the new features. But anyway, not to keep rambling too much. I think I'll end it there. GG's to both players. Both played really well. Flame had the edge in this game. And yeah, see y'all in the next one.